Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Daya Karo More. 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 Tuma vina ke dayalu jagat sansare. Tuma vina ke dayalu jagat sansare. Patita pavana hetu Tava avatara Tita pavana Tava avatara Mosamapatita Prabhu na paibe ara. Tita Prabhu na paibe ara. Ha Prabhu Nityananda Premananda Sukhi. Kripa balo kana koro ami boro dukhi. Pabalo kana koro ami boro dukhi. Daya koro Sitapati Advaita Gosai. Advaita Gosai. Tava kripa bole pai Chaitanya Nitai. Tava kripa bole pai Chaitanya Nitai. Swarup Sanatana Rupa Raghunatha. Swarup Sanatana Rupa Raghunatha. Bhatta Yuga Shijivaha Prabhu Lokanatha. Yuga Shijivaha Prabhu Lokanatha. Daya Karo Shri Acharya Prabhu Srinivasa. Prabhu Srinivasa. Ramachandra Sangamage Naratama Dasa. Sangha Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Shri Chaitanya, Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda, Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda, Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda, Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda, Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaura Hari Bol. Jai Jai Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Jai Nitai Gaura Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Hare Krishna everyone, so good morning, thank you so much for coming. So this morning we're reading from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, beginning a new chapter. This is the Madhya Leela chapter number 8, entitled Talks Between Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Ramananda Rai. So what we'll do today is we'll read the introduction or the summary of the chapter given by Srila Prabhupada. And then we'll read the first verse, and then we'll just have a little bit of discussion from there. So this is the chapter summary. Chapter 8, Talks Between Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Ramananda Rai. The summary of the 8th chapter is given by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur in Amrita Pravaha Bhasya. After visiting the temple of Jiyad Nrsimha, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to the banks of the Godavari to a place known as Vidyanagar. When Srila Ramananda Rai went there to take his bath, they both met. After being introduced, Sri Ramananda Rai requested Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to remain in the village for some days. Honoring this request, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu stayed there in the home of some Vedic Brahmanas. In the evening, Srila Ramananda Rai used to come to see Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Ramananda Rai, who was clothed in ordinary dress, offered the Lord respectful obeisances. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu questioned him on the object and process of worship, and also asked him to recite verses from the Vedic literature. First of all, Srila Ramananda Rai enunciated the system of Varnashram institution. He recited various verses about Kamarpan, stating that everything should be dedicated to the Lord. He then spoke of detached action, knowledge mixed with devotional service, and finally the spontaneous loving service of the Lord. After hearing Srila Ramananda Rai recite some verses, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepted the principle of pure devotional service, devoid of all the kinds of speculation. After this, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked Ramananda Rai to explain the higher platform of devotional service. Then Srila Ramananda Rai explained unalloyed devotional service, love of God, serving the Lord with pure servitude, as well as in fraternity and paternal love. Finally, he spoke of serving the Lord in conjugal love. He then spoke of how conjugal love can be developed in various ways. This conjugal love attains its highest perfection in Srimati Radharani's love for Krishna. He next described the position of Srimati Radharani and the transcendental mellows of love of God. Srila Ramananda Rai then recited one verse of his own concerning the platform of ecstatic vision, technically called Prema Vilas Vivarta. Srila Ramananda Rai also explained that all stages of conjugal love can be attained through the mercy of the residents of Vrindavan, especially by the mercy of the gopis. All these subject matters were thus vividly described. Gradually, Ramananda Rai could understand the position of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu exhibited his real form, Ramananda Rai fell unconscious. After some days, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked Ramananda Rai to retire from government service and come to Jagannath Puri. These descriptions of the meetings between Ramananda Rai and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu are taken from the notebook of Swarup Damodar Goswami. Srila Prabhupada ki. So we'll proceed to read verse number 1. So you can repeat after me. Sancharya Rama Bhida Bhakti Mege Svabhakti Siddhanta Chayamritani Gaurabdirete Ramuna Vitirne Tajgnat Varatna Layatam Prayati Sancharya Rama Bhita Bhakti Mege Svabhakti Siddhanta Chayamritani Gaurabdirete Ramuna Vitirne Tajgnat Varatna Layatam Prayati Sancharya Rama Bhita Bhakti Mege Svabhakti Siddhanta Chayamritani Gaurabdirete Ramuna Vitirne Tajgnat Varatna Layatam Prayati Sancharya Rama Bhita Bhakta Mege Swabhakti Siddhanta Chayamritani Gaurabdirete Ramana Vitirne Tajgnat Varatna Layatam Prayati. Sancharya, by empowering Rama Abhidha, of the name Rama, Bhakta Meghe, in the cloud-like devotee Rai, Svabhakti, of his own devotional service, Siddhanta, of conclusions, Jaya, all collections, Amritani, nectar, Gaura Abdi, the ocean known as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Ete, by these, Amuna, by the cloud known as Ramananda Rai. Vitirne, distributed. Tajgnatva, of knowledge of devotional service. Ratna Alayatam, of the quality of being an ocean containing valuable jewels. Prayati, achieved. Translation by His Divine Grace, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is known as Gauranga, is the reservoir of all conclusive knowledge in devotional service. He empowered Srila Ramananda Rai, who may be likened to a cloud of devotional service. This cloud was filled with all the conclusive purports of devotional service and was empowered by the ocean to spread this water over the sea. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself was the ocean of knowledge of pure devotional service. Srila Prabhupada Ki. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Svayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalan Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamsha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So with your blessings and permission, I'll try to share something on this very, very beautiful chapter. Actually, this chapter in the Gaudiya Math, when they would read through the Chaitanya Charitamrita and they would come to the 8th chapter of the Madhya Leela, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur wouldn't allow them to read it, actually. Because in this chapter, very, very confidential things are mentioned, described by Srila Ramananda Rai to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And therefore, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur would not want that to be publicly talked about. But of course, Srila Prabhupada gave us access. And I don't know if you're aware, But in 1959, Srila Prabhupada actually wrote a book that most devotees don't know about. In 1977, shortly after Srila Prabhupada's departure, they found a manuscript in the Radha Damodar temple. It was a manuscript which had not been published, and it was basically a manuscript which was a description where Srila Prabhupada had written about the conversation between Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Ramananda Rai. And later on, that manuscript was published as a book entitled In Search of Life's Ultimate Goal. Put your hand up if you've read that book. So no one's read that book. Yeah. So you can't say you've read all of Prabhupada's books. So if you go on the internet, it's bona fide, it's been made available for free. You can read that book. It's called In Search of the Ultimate Goal of Life. And it's Srila Prabhupada's description of this beautiful conversation between Ramananda Rai and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In the course of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's life, he has many different types of conversations. In some conversations, he is trying to transform others. For example, when he speaks to Prakashananda Saraswati, or when he speaks to Sarvabhaum Bhattacharya, then the purpose of that conversation is he wants to transform them. Another type of conversation that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has in his life is where he's trying to educate devotees, those who have already accepted devotional service. So, for example, in Varanasi, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has a conversation with Sanatana Goswami for 2 months, educating him about devotional service. In Prayag, Allahabad, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu stops for 10 days, and at Dashashvamedha Ghat, he educates Rupa Goswami in the complete science of devotional service. So some conversations of Mahaprabhu are where he's educating devotees about how to practice spiritual life. But some conversations of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu are just for transcendental fun, just for relishing, just for exploring the beautiful inner life of Krishna. And when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu comes to Ramananda Rai, this is the type of conversation he's having. He just wants to churn the nectar. He just wants to have fun, relish Krishna Katha. And therefore he can do that with Ramananda Rai. He looks at Srila Ramananda Rai and he says, Ami eka batul, tumi dvitiya batul, ataeva amai tomai hoya samatul. Mahaprabhu looks at Ramananda Rai and he says, Ami eka batul, I am one madman. Tumi dvitiya batul, and you are a second madman. Ata eva amai tomai, between me and you, hoya samatul, there's no difference. I'm mad, you're mad, and when two mad people come together, mad conversations take place. And therefore this is actually a conversation between two intoxicated personalities, two madmen, Srila Ramananda Rai and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And so this is this is instructive. As devotees, we should have conversations with people where we're trying to preach to them, bring them, awaken them to Krishna consciousness. But then we should also have conversations with devotees to understand the science of how devotional service works. But then sometimes we should just have conversations with devotees to relish Krishna Katha, no agenda, just talk about Krishna, which is also very nice. There used to be our security guard at the manor. His name was Kaveri Prabhu. And I said, whenever I would meet him, he would just tell me something from the Bhagavatam. He never spoke to me about anything else. Whenever he would meet me, he would just say, and have you heard this about Krishna? So that was very nice, just to have conversations about Krishna. So this is what Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu does with Ramananda Rai. This is actually what a devotee wants to do in their heart of hearts, is just actually absorb themselves in hearing and chanting about Krishna. Whenever Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu does something, he has an external purpose and he has an internal purpose. So the external purpose is always to preach, because Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu comes as a preacher. But the internal purpose is always to relish. So when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu decides to perform the Rath Yatra, then the external purpose is because he wants to preach. Millions of people come to Rath Yatra. He can spread the holy name like anything. But the internal purpose of Rath Yatra is that he wants to relish. Because Rath Yatra is the scene of Kurukshetra, of Srimati Radharani and the gopis who have come to Kurukshetra, meeting Krishna as Dwarkadish after a long time, but they're not satisfied. They want to pull Krishna back to Vrindavan. So Mahaprabhu is experiencing all these things internally. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu decides to stay in Jagannath Puri, the external reason is because his mother requested. But the internal reason is because he wants to relish. Who is Jagannath? Jagannath is Krishna, stunned in ecstasy, in complete separation from Vrindavan. And therefore, Jagannath Puri is known as Viraha-Kshetra, the place of great separation. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu takes sannyas, the external reason is he wants to preach. But the internal reason is he wants to become like the gopis, vyavasayatmika buddhi. All other considerations sidelined, just completely focused. And similarly, when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu comes to South India, the external reason is to spread the holy name of Krishna everywhere, every town and village. But the internal reason why he actually comes to South India is because he wants to meet Ramananda Rai and he wants to actually relish Krishna Katha. So for a devotee, without relishing Krishna Katha, there's no real life. This is what we're really meant to be here for. Once Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he put out an advert in the newspaper in Navadvip Dham, and he said, wanted devotees who can read and chant all day. Accommodation will be provided, 3 square meals will be provided, all requirements will be met. All you have to do is hear and chant all day. And there were no applications. But as we increase our ability to absorb ourselves in Krishna Katha, then we can understand this is a very, very sure sign of advancement. How much is one able to stay with transcendental sound vibration? How much is one able to remain immersed in Hari Kirtan, Hari Katha, without the mind going to many, many different places? As our ability to stay there increases, then we can understand, yes, I'm going in a good direction. We have one devotee in London, he's an investment banker, and some time ago I asked him, oh, it was Sunday. I said, what did you do on Sunday? He said, at 9 o'clock I began reading the Bhagavatam. I said, oh, that's nice to start the day by reading the Bhagavatam. I said, and then what did you do? He said, then I continued. I said, yeah, I got it. You read Bhagavatam in the morning. What did you do after? And he said, no, then I continued. I said, so what did you do? He said, I read Bhagavatam until 10 p.m. at night. I said, we're happy to know that there are devotees in the movement who can read the Bhagavatam for 13 hours and force themselves to stop because they have to go to sleep. Yes, let us try to develop that kind of absorption. Because yesterday, remember, we were saying there's no solutions in the material world. The only solution to the complexity of the material world is absorption in Krishna Katha, because nothing else will solve our difficulties. So here it's very, very beautiful. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Ramananda Rai are having a conversation, and the metaphor given here by Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is that Ramananda Rai is like a cloud of devotional service. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is like an ocean of jewels. It's a very, very beautiful metaphor. You see, between a cloud and an ocean, there's a huge distance, isn't it? A very big distance. So between Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Ramananda Rai, there's a big distance. The one big distance is that Mahaprabhu is God and he's a living entity. But not just that, the other big distance is that Mahaprabhu is a sannyasi. But Ramananda Rai, he is just the grihastha. The other one is that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is a Brahmin. But Ramananda Rai is a kayastha. And then Ramananda Rai, he is in a big social position. He's a governor. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is socially dead. There's a big distance between them. But what happens when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu comes and sees Ramananda Rai? He embraces him. And he shows that devotion transcends convention. He brings him together and says it doesn't matter that there's a gap between us according to convention, because in love we are one, we are together. And therefore Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu embraces him. And the gap is reduced. There's no gap. Sometimes we think, oh, I'm very far from Krishna. But the only gap is a gap of love. Because when there is love and devotion, there is no gap. Isn't it? Sometimes you are separated from a person, but because your hearts are very close, still you feel their presence at every moment. And sometimes you can be right next to someone, but if the hearts are very, very far, then you feel very distant, isn't it? They asked one saint, why is it that people shout when they're next to each other? He said, because their hearts have become so far apart that even though they're standing next to each other, they have to shout with each other to make up the distance of hearts. So with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Ramananda Rai, there was no distance. All of those distances disappeared and Mahaprabhu just embraced him. Srila Prabhupada, he said that one day the devotees may just get the embrace of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That would be amazing. Vrindavan Das Thakur says, Ajanulam bitabujo kanaka vadato samkirtane kapitaro kamalaya taksho vishvambaro dvijavaro yugadharma palo vande jagat priyakaro karunavataro. Vrindavan Das Thakur says, he's describing Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and he says, his arms are so long that they reach down to his knees. If you ever meet a person who stands up and then their hands reach their knees, you can understand they are Mahapurush. Yeah, you can try when you get home. Mahaprabhu had very, very long arms. And with those long arms, he was embracing the whole world. He was bringing everyone in. He even brought the animals in. He brought everyone in. So Mahaprabhu embraces Ramananda Rai. And then they have very, very beautiful conversations. And the amazing thing in this metaphor is it said that Ramananda Rai is like the cloud. So if you see how it happens in nature is that where is the cloud drawing all the water from? The ocean. Everything is coming from the ocean. And then what the cloud does is it rains it all back down on the ocean again. Can you see when the cloud is drawing from the ocean? No. But can you see when the ocean is raining it back, or when the cloud is raining it back on the ocean? Yes. Therefore, we should never become proud. We are drawing everything we can get from Krishna. But the world doesn't see that. And then sometimes we display our abilities and the world says, amazing, you're great, you're wonderful. But what they don't see is that we're drawing it all from Krishna. And if we're a little bit dishonest, if we want to take the credit, then we will not reveal to the world that actually the invisible part that you're not seeing is I'm getting it from Krishna. But the devotee, Srila Prabhupada, he said, what is my qualification? I just followed the order of my Guru Maharaj. He empowered me. The devotee always reveals the invisible to the world so as not to try to take credit for that which you didn't do. And so that's very, very beautiful. Ramananda Rai, he is saying to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, you're asking me so many questions, I'm getting the answers from you, empowered by you. When Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he was on a boat going across the Jalangi. And one person came up to him and he said, you are such a big preacher. And your Guru Maharaj, Gaur Kishore Das Babaji, he did not do preaching. And Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, you know, in the Indian boats, the fans are like loud like anything, isn't it? So he pointed to the motor and he said, I am just like this motor. I'm very loud, spinning, moving, going all across the world, doing so many things. And then he said, but see, and then there was a wire coming from the motor. And the wire, he traced it and he said, see? And the wire went all the way to the back of the boat. And in the back of the boat was a battery. And he said, my Guru Maharaj is just like that. In the back, unassuming, very, very quiet, not seen to the world, supposedly Bhajananandi, but all my power to preach is coming from him. So that was very, very nice. The devotee is like this, very honest, that yes, all the empowerment is coming from the Lord. So in this way, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, he is such a kavi, he's such a poet, that he's able in these beautiful metaphors to basically sum up so many deep truths when we unpack what he's actually saying. He writes in Chaitanya Charitamrita, true eloquence is essential truth spoken concisely. So in these verses, he just says something very, very, it seems like, oh, that's very nice, poetic. But when you begin to break it apart and look at it deeply, there are so many things being said here which are extremely touching. So like this, in this chapter, we will go on and speak so much about the conversations between Mahaprabhu and Ramananda Rai. Every good conversation has to begin with a good question. If you don't ask a good question, there's no good conversation. Perfect questions, perfect answers. So the Bhagavad Gita began with a brilliant question. You see, Dhritarashtra's question was a lesser question. What did my sons and the sons of Pandavas do? It was a question about events, about occurrences in this world. But Arjun's question, that was a deep question. What is my dharma? And because he asked an amazing question, Krishna had the opportunity to give an amazing answer, which became known as the Bhagavad Gita. In the beginning of the Ramayana, there's an amazing question. What are the qualities of an ideal person? And in answer to that one question, a whole conversation and a whole narrative takes place, which is Ramayana. In the Bhagavatam, there is one brilliant question. What is the question that Parikshit asks? What is the duty of one who's about to die, and what is the duty of all people in all situations? Brilliant question. Therefore, amazing book. And similarly, in this conversation, Mahaprabhu is going to ask an amazing question. What is the ultimate goal of life? And in answer to that question, Ramananda Rai will give many, many answers, but Mahaprabhu will keep pushing him, keep stretching him, keep drawing from him more and more insights, because every time Ramananda Rai will say something, Mahaprabhu will say, Eho bhaiya, age kaho aar. That is external, you say something more. And like this he will keep pushing. So this is the spiritual master, this is Krishna. They keep pushing us because they know there's more you can do, there's more you can say, there's more you can reveal. And like this they keep pushing us to do more and reveal more and purify ourselves more and more. And that's the conversation that we will be reading in this beautiful chapter. So I think let me just pause there for some time. I think we go to like 8:30, like that. 8:30, 8:40, like. So we have 5-10 minutes. Let me see if anyone has any questions or comments. Okay. Yes, I think Mataji at the back.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Thank you for the nice class, Maharaj. Maharaj, you mentioned about how we have to be absorbed in our Krishna consciousness. I was just wondering, like, since most of us in this community are householders and we have family responsibilities and a job that we have to work for, so how do we actually apply that in our lives, if you could kindly?
And Ramananda Rai was a householder. And Ramananda Rai was a governor. And Ramananda Rai had so many responsibilities. And Rupa and Sanatan were also in the government. And they were also charged with many, many duties. And they wanted to leave. And Mahaprabhu sent them a letter. Paravyasinini nari vyagrapi griha karmashu tadeva svadayatyantar navasanga rasayanam. They wanted to leave, and Mahaprabhu said, you should be just like a lady who's married but who has another lover, and therefore she stays at home and does her duties even more attentively, but all the while she is meditating on her lover. So somehow or other we have to find absorption. Absorption is not always a matter of time. People think more time equals more absorption. Not necessarily. Where absorption comes from is amount of desperation and amount of focus in the time that you do have. And therefore in the time that you do have in your grihastha life, if you're able to really focus, to really give your best time and energy, to really prioritize Hari Kirtan, Hari Katha, then why will that absorption not also come within you? It's possible for everyone. Because Nitya Siddha Krishna Prem, Sadhya Kabunoi, is already there, it just needs to be ignited. So when Krishna sees that we are desirous, that we want to again reconnect with that nature, then Ridyanta sto hiya bhadrani vidunoti. So Krishna will help from within. He'll begin to remove the blocks that block our absorption. So what can we say? Yes, life is busy. But then we have to, in those moments, the early mornings, and when you come home at night, to be eager, to read? How eager are we to open our emails? Maybe not the temple president. But generally, yes, we are eager to see who has messaged me. We are eager to see our phones. We should feel that the Shastra is like a message from Krishna. Yes, when will I be eager? What is Krishna going to tell me? What does Krishna want to speak to me? We have to develop that eagerness. So I feel it's not so much a matter of time. I gave you the example of the devotee who was an investment banker, who is an investment banker, working hard, but has developed a taste and a love for the Bhagavatam. So, yes, the other indication that is given within the Bhagavatam, Shushrushro Shradadhanasya Vasudeva Katharuchi Shyan Mahat Sevaya Vipra Punya Tirtha Nishevanat. Search out those devotees who have taste and serve them and hear from them. Jaha Bhagavata Pada Vaishnavedastane Ekanta Ashraya Kara Chaitanya Charane. Mahaprabhu says to the devotee in Puri, if you really want to understand Bhagavatam, then hear from the mouth of someone who's relishing Bhagavatam. Once Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, there was a military general, so he was trying to explain to him about hearing Harikatha. And so he gave a metaphor. He said, you are a military general, just like a helicopter enters into the territory of the enemy. And then as it enters the territory, it starts lowering down. And then as the helicopter lands, the doors open. And when the doors open, the soldiers come out with their guns and they run in all directions and then they hijack the whole territory. So this person was looking at Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati thinking, my God, is he like teaching me military tactics or what is this? Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said, similarly, the sound vibration of Harikatha is launched from the mouth of a sadhu. And when those syllables are launched, then what happens is they hover over your heart. And then if those syllables land in your heart, then what will happen is when they land, they will go in all directions of your consciousness and they will conquer your mind and senses. So he said, allow the syllables. Therefore we hear from Srila Prabhupada, because Srila Prabhupada is powerful. He speaks to us and he draws us to Krishna because we don't just hear the information he's giving us, but we absorb his conviction, his complete love for Krishna, and we're absorbing a little bit of that in his sound vibration. So when we hear from the great devotees like Srila Prabhupada and all the great Vaishnavas, then we get more taste as well. Some thoughts.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. I wanted to ask, sometimes we feel that life has become very stagnant. It's just the same going on, But how do we understand that we are making any progress in our Krishna consciousness?
Yes, there are many different ways in which you can measure progress in Krishna consciousness. One I gave today. How much is your taste for Hari Kirtan, Hari Katha? One devotee once said to me, it's nice to be absorbed in service, but did you know it's also a service to be absorbed in Krishna? And when he said that, somehow it hit me. And I thought, yes, it's a service to be absorbed in Krishna. You will know you're advancing if your ability to chant and be fully present, your ability to hear about Krishna and be fully present is increasing. That's a good sign. You will know you're advancing when desires, material desires are disappearing. The things that were so attractive to you are no longer holding much interest. Those desires are becoming transformed. Good sign that you're advancing. Faith. When your faith in Krishna, Shraddha Shabde Vishwash Kohe Sudrida Nashchoy, Krishna Bhakti Koile Sarva Karma Krita Hoy. Kaviraj Goswami says faith means the Vishwash, the conviction that if I serve Krishna, everything else will be fulfilled in my life. So where is one's faith? Is one coming more and more to that level of faith, or are they still trying to control? Are they still trying to hold on to what they think will protect them in this world? Are they ready to put faith in Krishna? Character. This is another way to measure one's advancement. Because yasyasti bhaktir bhagavatya kinchana sarvair gunai statra samasate suraha. That as you advance in bhakti, the best version of yourself should be coming out. Titikshava, karunika, surida, sarvadehinam. Are you becoming tolerant? Are you becoming kind? Are your enemies, the list of your enemies, is it becoming smaller and smaller? Or is it becoming bigger and bigger? Ajata Shatru, when you become a sadhu, no enemies. No, why I need to be envious or have enmity towards someone? No problem. Lincoln, he said, I kill all of my enemies by making them my friends. So yes, friendly to all. Suridam sarvadehinam. That's very nice. So you'll know you're advancing. Your character is changing. So if we're going on in spiritual life but there's no transformation, then it becomes more like a religion. What makes Krishna consciousness a science? It's a science because it changes us. And therefore no transformation, then we have to look more closely. So yes, we have to observe ourselves and see that we are changing. That is the proof that Krishna consciousness is working. I think you need the mic just for the...
Thank you so much, Maharaj. Maharaj, we often hear that being absorbed in Krishna. But as you were giving the example of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, he was so much absorbed in his guru as well. So that is the part that I struggle. It's so easy to be absorbed in Krishna. I mean, through books and so many lectures and things. How to be absorbed in guru or guru's instruction, Maharaj? Like, I was just thinking, your Guru Maharaj is not around now, but you were still connected to him. How do we do it, Maharaj?
How to be absorbed in the guru?
Yeah.
Well, that you're able to be absorbed in Krishna is also very good. That's wonderful. To be absorbed in Guru actually is very easy. Because what does Guru mean? Guru means heavy. The Guru is very, very heavy. Every year on Srila Prabhupada's disappearance day, then in Srila Prabhupada's house in Vrindavan, at the moment of Srila Prabhupada's disappearance, they bring out Srila Prabhupada's chadar that he was wearing when he left the world. So somehow this year I managed to get into the house. Sannyasi. The perks, what to say. You have to use it sometimes, you know. On that day you bring your danda, you make it known. No, sannyasi. Sannyasi. So they allowed us in. Wow, that's a great mercy to be in Srila Prabhupada's house at the moment he departed. And then Gopal Krishna Maharaj, he takes Srila Prabhupada's chadar and he puts it on everyone's head. And His Holiness Kadamba Kanda Maharaj, he would often describe it, and this time I experienced it. He said, when Gopal Krishna Maharaj comes and puts the chadar on your head, then you realize the heavy weight instructions, the heavyweight instruction, the heavyweight expectation, the heavy mission that Srila Prabhupada has. And in that moment when the chadar comes on your head, you realize, I have a heavy responsibility. And so the Guru has given us so much to do. The Guru has given us so much. There's a whole world to make Krishna conscious. There's a whole society of devotees to take care of. There's enough activities to keep you busy from morning to evening. And therefore, to be absorbed in Guru means to know that we've got enough instructions to last us 7 lifetimes. Sometimes I go to Vrindavan in January for a break, disconnect. And it's very nice, you arrive in Vrindavan, and of course we always begin in Vrindavan by going to Prabhupada's Samadhi in the morning and having Mangalarti there. And after about 4 or 5 days, when I go into the Samadhi of Srila Prabhupada, I start hearing messages from Srila Prabhupada. And I start hearing Srila Prabhupada saying, when are you going back? And I'm like, Prabhupada, I came here to be in Vrindavan. I just want to be here in Vrindavan. And you hear the voices, no, when are you going back? There's a mission, there's a service, there's a responsibility. Srila Prabhupada, who are we? But Srila Prabhupada said, I'm relying on you. Who are we? But Srila Prabhupada, out of his kindness, gave us a way to be absorbed. And so there's so much to do. So how can we not be absorbed in Guru? Because at every corner, at every turn, there's something to do for Guru. And then you'll remember Guru. So like that, we have such a beautiful life, so much to do. It's become purposeful. Is that okay?
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Maharaj, you were talking about how Lord Chaitanya had external purposes and internal purposes for many of his major life events. I was just kind of contemplating whether, Lord Chaitanya came to this world to set the example of how to be a devotee of Krishna. So I'm guessing that we're also meant to have internal purposes, and for every external thing that we're doing, we're also meant to have an internal purpose. Could you give some examples of how that may look, maybe from your own life or different examples?
Thank you so much. Yes. When we actually become a devotee, then the external purpose of the life and the internal purpose of our life actually seamlessly integrates. Srila Prabhupada was writing books for the benefit of the whole world. But Srila Prabhupada simultaneously called his purports, what did he call them? His personal ecstasies. That means Srila Prabhupada was simultaneously serving the world and simultaneously experiencing the ecstatic outpouring of being with the Shastra. That's how the external and internal seamlessly integrate. When Srila Prabhupada was chanting, it was penetrating people's hearts. And it was also Srila Prabhupada's loving call to Krishna, in which he was crying for Krishna and experiencing his connection with Krishna. And therefore his kirtan was not a performance. His kirtan was an unfolding of his heartfelt love for Krishna, which then naturally affected everyone else's heart. And so what we're trying to do eventually is just do our service, not just as a service for the world out of compassion, but as a service in which we're in communion with Krishna. And when we do that service in which we're in communion with Krishna, it will naturally have its effect in the world that it's meant to have. Does that make sense? So that means that yes, we must be absorbed in service, but we must be absorbed in Krishna while we're doing that service. And that's what we're basically trying to do, trying to bring more and more presence of Krishna into our service for the world. In recent years, I felt that more and more. Nowadays, our life is somehow or other trying to serve by speaking about Krishna. And after some time, you realize, how can you just keep on speaking about things that you have no realization about? After some time, you feel like a little bit of an imposter. And therefore you feel, no, I must go deeper. I must try to share something that I'm feeling, share something that I'm experiencing, share something that Krishna has mercifully revealed to me. And then maybe if I'm able to share something more genuine, then it can also help people in a deeper way. And like that, in all of our service, Sandrananda, Visheshatma, we're trying to make it thicker and thicker. In other words, more and more absorption, more and more presence. And in that way, Srila Prabhupada never became tired preaching, because it wasn't an act, it wasn't work, it wasn't a drama, it was just ecstasy. Once we went on book distribution, and there were these guys selling things on the street. And so the book distributors were doing really well. And so this person came up to the book distributor, he said, like, who do you guys work for? Because we work for Krishna. He said, like, how much are they paying you? They go, no, we don't get paid anything. This is service. They go, no, come on, tell us, how much you guys getting paid? Like, you guys are amazing. Like, if you guys aren't getting paid, you work for us, we'll pay you. Like, you're good. And then the devotee said, no, this is not work. This is life. This is life. So it's life. Because the devotees do it with such presence, it becomes enlivening. So yes, I think this is what we have to do. Bring more and more presence. I like Vaisheshika Prabhu, he says, distribute the overflow. So if you're so overflowing, then you don't need to, you just walk around and kind of people just get affected by that ecstasy. You don't need to work so hard because people feel it. So yes, some thoughts.
So Maharaj, I'm wondering, you were talking about being absorbed, and it is easy to be absorbed when there's your favorite kirtan leader, when you're reading your favorite pastime. But what about those times when you're reading about the definition of the atom in the 5th canto, or what if it's not your favorite kirtan leader? Tips on how to absorb in those situations.
Yes. Of course, if we have natural taste, and in certain angas or certain things we're naturally being able to absorb ourselves, even if it sometimes is because of the external aspect, still that's good. So yeah, where you find natural connection, if you have a favorite kirtan leader, it's okay. Yeah, hear more kirtans from them, no problem. Eventually it will go beyond the voice, it will go beyond the tune, it will go to the holy name. But if that glue of their ability to sing in that way helps you to at least be focused, then it's still good. If you have a favorite section or a favorite part of the Bhagavatam that you can naturally connect with, it's okay. Go for it, go deep. Even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had his favorites, Dhruva, Charitra and Prahlad. and they were hearing for Gadada Pandit every single day. So that's okay, it's not. But yes, eventually we want to also go a little deeper. It's actually said that Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur would sometimes purposely pick the devotee who had an out-of-tune voice to sing the kirtan. and give everyone that little bit of experience of like tuning in really now to the holy name and surrendering to the holy name. So yes, we should understand that also there are other parts like this which help us to be more conscious. In those parts, what it's helping us to do is be more conscious about making the connection with Krishna here. You see, sometimes when the externals are very nice, then we think we're connecting to Krishna, but it's still very much the externals that we're connecting to. And still that's beneficial. But when we're not connecting on the externals, we can see that this is a great opportunity now to consciously connect to the internal meaning of this. And so when we're reading the more difficult parts of the Bhagavatam, to then think deeply, how does the definition of the atom increase my appreciation of Krishna? How does knowing the structure of the universe allow me to develop more of a affinity for Krishna's heart? Now you have to make those connections. And sometimes when you make those connections, it's actually very, very beautiful. Sometimes when it isn't, the tune, or the person singing too low or too high, and it's difficult to follow, in that moment, we remember Rupa Goswami who says, I do not know how much nectar has been produced by the two syllables, Krishna. And we meditate on that, and we try to hear the syllable, Krishna. And in that way, we try to consciously make the link. And so sometimes it's very good to have those experiences because we become more conscious about how it all relates to Krishna. Is that? Just let me know when. I'm okay, but you let me know. I'm just always conscious about time in
Hare Krishna, Maharaj. So wonderful to hear from you. You're an amazing instrument, and I'm so grateful that you're here and that Radha Kalachandji brought you. So you were speaking about the value of really sharing from what it is that we are personally experiencing, what we are personally learning from, and allowing that genuineness to come forward and to really connect with others. And so in the interest of all of us learning, what is something that you're learning right now? What is something that you are experiencing and embarking on this, worldwide travel and taking on this role that is new in some ways? And
you mean like what am I experiencing about in my own spiritual journey, or what am I experiencing in the movement, or what, like?
Yes, I think kind of, internally, like on your own spiritual level, and maybe your connection with Krishna, or...
Mm-hmm. Yes, thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to think about this. Yes, of course. Just to be very open with all of you, here we are, we're friends. So, yes, my spiritual master told me to make that journey and go into the renounced order of life. And yes, people see sannyas as it's a preaching, it's a move for preaching. Yes, very clearly. We travel more. My spiritual master used to say the danda is like an amplifier. You do the same things, but everything becomes bigger. So yes, when you take that life on, then is for that purpose, for the purpose of service, to try to share with people, to embrace the whole world as your family. But as time has gone by, then I realized that the internal purpose of sannyas is also very much on my mind now. That when you become a sannyasi, it's said that you are becoming a bhikshu, a beggar, a tridandi bhikshu. But the Vaishnava acharyas say that actually you become a prema bhikshu, a beggar of love. And therefore you realize that what can I do for the world? What can I do for the world if I have no love? What can I do for the world if I have no realization? What can I really do for the world if I'm not experiencing what I seek to share with people? You can't take the world to a higher place than what you've reached internally yourself. And therefore my realization very, very strongly is that my spiritual master told me to go in this direction, I thought, so that I could do more preaching. But nowadays I'm thinking, because he wanted me to realize after doing all this preaching that you actually yourself have to go deeper. And therefore, feeling more of a enthusiasm, inspiration, and urgency to actually find Krishna, to actually become a living theology. Because what the world looks for more than anything is the living theology. It's said that the Bhagavatam is understood through the book, but also through the person. Of course, who are we? We are very small. Who are we to think that we will become a living Bhagavatam? But perhaps if we could embody some of the realizations of the Bhagavatam, then it would become more real for the world. And maybe in that way we could do more. I always consider deeply that Srila Prabhupada between 1959 and 1965 he stayed in Radha Damodar. He knew he had to spread the movement all around the world, and he was already old. Yet he still spent 6 years there, reading, studying, praying, seeking the empowerment of Srila Rupa Goswami, a lifetime in preparation. And then the mature fruit of all of that was Srila Prabhupada just came out and just touched the world. So my realization is that sannyas has taught me, now you have to become a prema bhikshu, a beggar of love, try to find Krishna.
Thank you for sharing. And I want to say that it's absolutely only that desperation that could keep you going in this way. I mean, all I did yesterday was follow you around and listen, and I was exhausted. So it's amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. How to address duality of existence, like every belief or principle life has, I mean for myself I'm asking, duality exists. Like I can't be the same at all times with everybody in the world actually. So how can that duality be addressed and dissolved faster? Like example, I see that most of the people in existence, if they have one principle, one goal, they are mostly about only that. But the world is big and it has so much of energies in different forms and levels. Example I'm giving.
Mm-hmm.
So if we are going in one path, there are so many other paths coming around in life. Like in so many other places we have to live in different forms. So how to resolve the duality of existence and become one with everything as one?
Okay, very nice. So how do we find that one life in which we can integrate everything?
Yes,
and not,
exactly. No duality.
No duality,
In existence
no
at all.
two lives. Yeah, this is a very nice point. Well, Chaitanya Charitamrita says, Dvaite bhadra bhadra gyan sab manodharm, ei bhala, ei manda, ei sab brahm. Duality is all manodharma, is all mental concoction. There is no duality. There's only one reality. But what we tend to do is we tend to compartmentalize our lives, and therefore we see duality. In the life of a devotee, everything is integrated because the devotee sees that nothing in their life is separate from Krishna. Bahunam janmana mante jnanavan mam prapadyate vasudeva sarvamiti. They say that Krishna is everything. When I see my family, I see Krishna. When I go out there and I interact with people, I see Krishna. When I see a situation of turmoil, I see the need for Krishna here. When I come to the temple, I see my friends and Krishna. Everywhere I go, I see Krishna. Stavara jangama deke na deke tara murti. They don't see moving and non-moving things. They see Krishna. Krishna says in the Gita, Yomam pashyati sarvatra sarvam cha mai pasyati Dashaham na pranashyami sachamena pranashyati. For one who sees me everywhere and sees everything in me, I am never lost, nor is he ever lost to me. Therefore, if you want to make one life, one integrated life, then first you have to understand Vasudeva Sarvamiti. There's no other one thing in this world that can integrate everything, because everything else is dual. But the one thing that can integrate everything is Krishna, because Krishna is the foundation of everything, and nothing can exist without Krishna. And so, as we Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur beautifully says, when you shine a laser beam, I don't know if he says laser beam, but you can understand. When you shine into a diamond, when you shine the light into the diamond, then the light then naturally goes in all directions. And therefore, if you invest your heart in Krishna, then naturally, via Krishna, your heart will naturally be invested in everything else in a seamless way, seeing everything connected to Krishna. Therefore, Prabhupada told us, water the root of the tree and the whole tree becomes satisfied, and feed the stomach and the whole energy, the whole body becomes energized. So that is the integration. Otherwise, there's no integration.
When you said Krishna, focus on Krishna, what is that one thing that you would expect everyone, like only one thing if you have to say? What exactly is to be focused about Krishna? It's not a form, right? Krishna is just not a form. It can be, if it has to be someone.
What is the one aspect of Krishna that you should always focus on?
Yes,
well,
for human being, not in the form of like energy.
Kali Kaler Nama Rupe Krishna Avatar. That Krishna has come in this Kali Yuga as the holy name. And Harer Nama Eva Kevalam. Without that holy name, Krishna coming in that transcendental sound vibration, Nastyeva, there's no way in which you can empower your consciousness in divine realization. And therefore, our teachers tell us never forget the holy name of Krishna. Always keep the name very, very close. Always keep that vibration close to your heart, because Nama Chintamani Krishnas is Chintamani, it's like a touchstone, and it will transform everything. So take the name and keep it always with you. Thank you so much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki jai. Hare Krishna. Thank you.